Let's bring in Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. So great to see you, Senator. We love having you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Who's the winner tonight, Biden or Bernie?
Oh, I think Bernie's going to come out with tremendous momentum, but I don't think it matters. You remember when they asked, do you have a problem with a socialist at the top of the ticket? Hey, Biden didn't raise his hand. I think that party's gone so far to the left, they're willing to kill the goose that's given us our prosperity just to kind of punish people who've done well in life.
You know what's really interesting? These are not winner-take-all states. So, you know, let me back up. We got to be careful about the media calling any early winners. It's not over until it's over. We've got results flowing in from east to west. The polls start closing in Vermont and Virginia around 7, then California, and maybe at 11 o'clock at night. Voters want clarity, Senator. Will they get it tonight?
I don't think they get clarity. Obviously, you expect Bernie to do well in California, but I expect Biden to do better in the Deep South. But I think there is already clarity. Their party is the party of socialism. Their party is the party of telling the American people, you got to get rid of your private health insurance. You got to pay much higher taxes. You got to kind of sacrifice yourself to their vision of how we live our lives. That's not the United States of America. That's some other country in the dustbin of history. I don't want it to be in our future.
Yeah, it's just an historic time that it's interesting. This is where the Democrat race is where it's at. Again, these are not winner-take-all contests like Republican contests. So even if there's a presumptive plurality of delegates that the winner gets, the candidates could still plow ahead and could still, at the end of the night, carry on with their campaigns if they get 50% of the threshold. Senator, I like your reaction to what the president had to say about this. Let's watch this.
President, what do you think? Whoever it is, I don't care. I really don't care. Whoever it is, we will take them on. Hey, the job we've done, we've rebuilt the military. We have the strongest economy we've ever had. All of the things we've done, I will take on anybody. Any of them. Very gladly. Very gladly.
And Senator, here's what the president said about Joe Biden. Watch this.
Tomorrow, voters in states across the nation will head to the polls for Super Tuesday, not Super Thursday. Oh, he said Super Thursday, you can't do these things. He's constantly naming the wrong state. It's great to be in the state of Ohio. No, I'm sorry, you're in North Carolina. I honestly don't think he knows what office he's running for. They're going to put him into a home, and other people are going to be running the country. And they're going to be super left radical crazies.
Your reaction, Senator?
Well, it is classic Donald Trump. But if he means that Joe Biden seems more gaffe-prone than normal, that is clear. And I think the voters have to make up their mind. And if he is also suggesting, I think rightly, that Biden will not be kind of setting a moderate tone, but that his administration will be guided where the energy is in the Democratic Party, and that is for a leftist regime which infringes upon on Americans' rights, taking away our personal health insurance, et cetera. I think the president's also right about that. Ultimately, there's not going to be much of a difference between a Sanders and a Biden administration.
You know, it's interesting. Maybe that could be why the Democrats could be headed toward a contested convention in Milwaukee, because 538, the respected polling analysis shop, it says the most likely winner after tonight is no one at 67%, then Joe Biden. And it also says after all the voting is said and done, Biden gets the most delegates, but not the majority of the delegates. That means a brokered convention. We haven't seen that since 1952. I mean, it's not unusual for this country to go through that. Remember Reagan and Ford, they fought for that nomination. Walter Mondale had less than the majority for delegates in his election. I mean, in that campaign. So, I mean, Bloomberg is already saying, quote, I don't think I can win any other way than a contested convention. So that's why he's still plowing money into it. He's not dropping out.
Bloomberg's 78 years old, clearly has more money than he wants to give away, so he's decided to kind of spend it on a Democratic election. But the energy in their party is from the far left, a far left that does not believe in the old Reagan principles of free enterprise, limited government, and individual responsibility. They want higher taxes, more government responsibility, and they don't at all care about free enterprise. I think the choice in this election is going to be very clear. Do we want the prosperity that has given us record low unemployment for everybody, or do we want the left taking over our businesses, dictating our lives for us?
Yeah, this is where we're at. I hear what you're saying. By the way, Michael Bloomberg reportedly spent more in his campaign so far than the entire budget of the city of Arlington, Texas. Your reaction to this? This is really interesting. This is why the president's supporters say the president is playing chess while his opponents are playing checkers. President Trump picked off Bernie Sanders supporters and voters in 2016. Anywhere from 1 out of 7 to 1 out of 12 went for President Trump in the key swing states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Mark Thiessen wrote about that also in the Washington Post. So, when the president is saying, they're rigging it against Bernie and so on, does he have in his back of his head that the Bernie voter could go toward President Trump if Bernie is denied the nomination?
He did last time. Some of the Bernie supporters are just angry that the swamp is tilting everything against them. And they're not necessarily socialists. They just want somebody who is similarly angry. Bernie certainly comes across as angry. The president's actually quite charming when you're with him in person, but he's also against the swamp. I would like to think the president can pull those voters over this time as well. They're not hopefully so much about socialism as they are kind of draining the swamp, and that's what Donald Trump's trying to do.
Yeah, and here we also like to watch the S&P health sector, the health insurers sector. They've got 7 stocks there: Humana, Johnson & Johnson, United Health, Anthem. Those stocks swing up and down when they see Bernie rising or falling in the polls. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton talk about Bernie Sanders. Watch this.
Well, my reaction is let's follow the rules. We've got rules. We had rules last time, and we have rules this time. And I think it's always a good idea to follow the rules. Everybody knew what they were when you got into it.
In the campaign, in the documentary, you talk about his campaign from 2016, and you call it, quote, just baloney, and I feel so bad that people got sucked into it. Do you still feel that way now?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that was my authentic opinion then. It's my authentic opinion now.
That's Hillary Clinton criticizing Bernie Sanders. Your reaction, Senator?
Again, I think she's drawn a distinction between the different candidates in the Democratic Party. Again, I think their energy is coming from the far left, and Hillary would be discarded now. Their energy is coming from the squad, from Bernie, from others, where they want to, again, take away our individual liberties. They want to take away our private health insurance. If we don't like it, stuff it, raise our taxes. I had a woman who doesn't care for Trump. She said, listen, if I got a choice between a socialist and Donald Trump, I'm voting for Donald Trump. So I think people are realizing that if they want their individual prosperity to continue, as opposed to that which the government decides to give them, go with Republicans. Biden, Bernie, I think either way their administration's somewhat the same.
And Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren want more power for the IRS to take taxpayers' property and, income. This is what we're reading in their plans. Senator, come back soon. We love having you on.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Great to see you, Senator.